What's up, everybody? E-Rock the Red here, back with another episode of AEW Bring the Boom, the weekly AEW Dynamite review and recap, brought to you by Pop Culture Playground. We're back. It's 4/21. We're live on an all-new AEW Dynamite. This was another great episode. We're setting up a lot of stuff. This one didn't have any of the big players. No wrestling by Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks or Cody, but it was still a quality show. Let's do the quick rundown of everything that took place. We start things off with Ricky Starks versus Hangman Adam Page. This was a great match. I'm really starting to come around on Ricky Starks. I wasn't really in love with him at first, but lately I've been watching him on Dark Elevation, and Dynamite, and he's not only is he a great in-ring performer, but like his cocky attitude has really been starting to win me over. And specifically on Elevation the other night, he was like mimicking Brian Cage like the whole time, and it was just looked like he was just like such an asshole. He's winning me over. But Hangman is my favorite wrestler in AEW, so this is a tough sell tonight. So we start off. It's a great back and forth match. At one point, Hangman German suplexes Starks. He goes to flip out and land on his feet. He lands on his feet, but he lands on the fucking back of his head and neck too. It looks a little rough. So it was a bit scary at first. Stark starts selling an ankle injury. I didn't see exactly where that came from. We see this awesome fall-away slam off the top rope by Hangman Page, and then a huge clothesline to follow that up. So Hangman's, he's pretty much in control of this match for quite a while. We see a bunch of really nice reversals on their finishers, and then we get something I've never seen before. Hangman Page wins by submission victory, and it was really just like he had him in a choke, and then he reached back and he grabbed that hurt ankle. So I think that was it. We were supposed to believe that his ankle was in such pain that was the reason that he tapped out, because it was a quick tap. So, but yeah, Hangman's he's submitting people now. What can't he do? Then we see that Taz was out there, and he starts yelling at Hangman, because that's what Taz does. He just sits back there and just starts yelling. And Hook comes out, chop blocks him, and they start just stomping a hole in him. And Brian Cage comes out, goes to do his power bomb thing. He's putting out his smoke. He's about to let it rip. And the Dark Order comes out with the big save. So it looks like they're building up a Dark Order. I mean, they've been building it up, but we're getting closer now to Dark Order versus Team Taz feud. So next week they announced that Hangman versus Cage will happen. So I'm super excited for that one. That's going to be a fantastic match. Next we go to the Elite. They've got a brand new trailer that they're checking out. Then next match, we've got Penta versus Trenta. Whoa, Trenta. Penta's got Alex Abrahantes with him now. Seems like he's a permanent fixture, and he is excited to be there. Motherfucker's jumping all over. He can't stand still. So he does a great job with him, and I think it's a great idea having him as his interpreter, manager, whatever they're calling him. I think he's adding to it. Although he was all over the place. He was all over the place during this match. This was another back and forth one. We saw some dope moves. There was this springboard destroyer that Penta hit. And Penta's out there. He's got the Batman mask on tonight, which was pretty cool. Got the ears and everything. So that was fun. Next we see Pile driver on the apron by Trent. Doesn't get all of it. So it looked like Penta was holding on the ropes. His head popped out a little bit. And then the announcers, they were back and forth on it. Excalibur's like, oh, it looked like he hurt him worse. JR's like, I don't think he hurt him. So it was weird. It wasn't the best looking one. We also got a commercial. During the commercial, there was a commercial finally for Impact for their pay-per-view, which I don't know if this was the first time we've seen an Impact commercial during AEW. Let me know if this has happened previously, but I thought that was interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to that show. That's this Sunday. We got the Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega title versus title. What else? So Alex Abrahantes is out there, starts shit talking Trent, saying shit about the best friends and then about Sue. Trent loses it. He goes after him, goes to hit him with a chair. Trent's in the ring. Orange Cassidy goes to get Alex, and then Penta super kicks Orange Cassidy, and then Alex hits Trent with the microphone. Penta gets the package pile driver for the win. This one was alright. I didn't love the finish. I didn't love Alex getting as involved as he did, to the point where he was in the ring. But it's setting up a nice feud, I believe. The next feud for Best Friends is with maybe Death Triangle. I'm not certain. I'm not certain where they're going with this. So, but yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to. That'd be a great match. Would Alex wrestle as their fourth with Chris Statlander? It's possible. Anything's possible. All right, next up we got JR. He's sitting down with the Pinnacle. This was a great segment. I always love the JR interview segments, and JR barely got to talk during this one. It was all MJF. And actually, we did get a little bit of chatting from Wardlow, and I was like, holy shit, Wardlow talks, and he did an okay job. It's tough following MJF, but he did good. MJF got a new silk scarf because it's silk season, baby. And, and then he just screamed at the camera a whole bunch. The Pinnacle is always on top. Don't forget that. So, again, great promo. Next up, we've got the women's title match. Tai Conti versus Hikaru Shida. Very much looking forward to this one. And it did not disappoint. Great match. A lot of great wrestling by both women. Starts off, both women bow to one another. And then they're off. It didn't take long before they were just trying to beat the shit out of each other. Like that, that friendship went out the door pretty quickly. Shida was in control for most of the match. Conti then got in a bunch of those judo throws, some sweet kicks, and then the this crazy move where she's got Shida on the top of the ropes in the corner, and then she dropped and did a senton off the ropes onto her. I loved that move. That was very interesting. There was a bunch of moves like that tonight where they used the ropes and the turnbuckles to their advantage. Shida hits a Falcon Arrow, and then she hit her with this crazy move called the Witch's Shot, where basically she's got her up. Looks like she's going to do some sort of a superplex or something off the top, and slams her down on the turnbuckle. This is another one of those turnbuckle moves, and it looked brutal. It was really, really cool. Tai Conti hits the Tai KO. Shida kicks out. And then Shida hits her with this huge knee to the face to retain the title. Shida still the champ. We get Britt Baker coming out. points to the jumbotron and shows her rankings. It just blasts up there, Britt Baker #1. Now, I don't know if that's the official ranking. Seemed pretty quick for her to just take that #1 position, but it's happening. We're going to have Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida eventually for that title. I thought they would wait until a pay-per-view for this, but I mean, immediately Britt Baker came out and she's asking for this match. So I don't know how quickly we see this. Is this something that we see at Blood and Guts, maybe? Make that super card? I don't know. But I think my opinion is that Sheeta's going to drop the belt to Britt Baker, and I am all in for it. Like, it's time. It's time for Britt to get that strap. All right, next up, we've got another promo from Miro. He said that Kips still hasn't gotten back to him, so he's going to take a title. And he said, he said a great line. He said to Darby something about his emo face paint daddy. I don't know what, but I loved it.
So I don't care who you are. I don't care if you walk around backstage with your slimy impact mouth or with your emo face paint daddy. You got a title, you got a problem.
So yeah, we'll see who Miro ends up feuding with. I would love to see Miro Darby. I think if that happens, Darby's dropping the belt to Miro. Yeah. Now I want to see that happen. So yeah, we'll see who Miro gets up against. Next up, we've got Tony Schiavone. He's got the Inner Circle in the ring. And, we get the whole intro, the Jericho song, shit like that. And then another great promo from Jericho. We also heard from a few other members of the Inner Circle, so this one wasn't just Jericho. So, I mean, Hager even, he talked, which is very rare. At one point, Jericho starts singing this awful song, and I'm like, aren't you supposed to be like a singer in a band? He was terrible. I don't know, and the song didn't even rhyme. Whatever. Keeps talking about My Jerk Off Friend, which I really want to see a shirt that says that. I don't know who's going to buy it, but I think it's a great idea. And he's talking about May 5th. They got Blood and Guts coming up, but next week, the Parlay. So he wants the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle to be out in the ring for a Parlay. Very, very excited for that. And he finishes it up by saying, "We are crazier than you, and you know it." So during both this and the Pinnacles promo, like, I am so ready for this battle. It's going to be so much fun. They could even keep pushing this out further. I really think that just have singles matches with all these guys and just, build this feud. But I'm happy that it is coming in with 2 weeks now. So very, very much looking forward to that. Next up, we had Billy Gunn versus QT Marshall of the Factory. I love the Factory's logo. It's very, it's simple, stylish. It's probably the best thing about the Factory, except for Nick Camarado. But anyways, we got Billy Gunn versus QT Marshall. Right off the bat, QT just throws the Factory members right into Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn just knocks them all down because he's an ass man. He needs that song again. Tony Khan should buy the rights to Ass Man. I just miss it. I love to stick them. I don't even know. But anyways, all right. And then what I didn't understand, Billy Gunn's out there and he's like, he's trying to wrestle QT, and Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo are getting in his face, and he's going back and forth. And right next to him is the Gun Club just standing there watching. So at one point, Nick hits Billy Gunn, and at that point then Austin and the other one come in, and I think it's Bart Gunn, right? I wish it was Bart Gunn. I They should bring Bart Gunn back. Anyways, he'd be the 4th member of the Gun Club. It'd be great. What was I saying? Yeah, they jump in and they fight back to the out to the middle of nowhere. They're out in the crowd, and then it gets to a point where QT is holding the ref, and a go-go does his stupid gut punch to Billy with the ref not looking, and then QT gets the diamond cutter. And QT wins over Billy Gunn. They gotta fix this finisher from a go-go. It's dumb. It looks shitty. Like, dude, I get it. You're a boxer. But, like, so think about, like, how many times a boxing match or MMA match was finished by a kidney punch or a liver shot or a gut punch. Like, it happens, and when it happens, it's super cool, but like, it's so fucking rare that, like, you're telling me that every single time this guy punches somebody in the stomach, they're down, they're out. Like, no, it is not believable. Get a new finisher, dude. I mean, punch him in, like, I don't know, the face at least. Like, that's more believable, but I guess, like, that's already Orange Cassidy's thing. I don't know. They got to go back to the drawing board on that. Let me know what you think. If you like the go-go finisher, the punch, let me know, because I'm not feeling it. But so QT, after the match, QT grabs like the weirdest chair that he could possibly find. It's like an old deck chair, and he goes to smash it on Billy, and Dustin comes out. He's got the bull rope with the cowbell on it. He's ready to go. He's also got his sweetest Finn Balor paint on. He's ready to go, and gets the chair away from QT. He's swinging around, and Nick Camarado comes in and just no-sells this chair shot, and this chair gets fucking blasted to pieces. Like, it was really cool looking. I was like, oh yeah, that's why they got this chair. But Nick Camarado is the best part of the factory. I just wish they didn't dress him up in this stupid white outfit with this stupid white coat. He looks just like a monster, just like a hairy caveman. Like, make him like just look more menacing than in this awful white jacket with 1,000 straps on it. What are all the straps for? I don't get it. Explain to me the straps. Explain to me the go-go punch. And get your shit together, the factory. Next up, we go to the Elite. They're sitting in their trailer. Beautiful trailer, by the way. Real nice leather chairs, big TV. I don't know what the fuck Matt and Nick are wearing. I love that now that they're heels, they just dress in the weirdest shit ever. All of a sudden, we start hearing a horn beep. Who's it gonna be? No one knows. And then we shoot over it. We got Mox and Eddie in a big old pickup truck, drive right into the side of the trailer. Eddie's yelling, "Get the pipe, get the pipe." And I thought they were going to start smoking weed or whatever. But Moxley comes out with like a metal pipe. They go in the trailer. Nobody's in the trailer. So they must have like escaped. They didn't really explain this that well. It's like, all right, you drove into the trailer, show them like leaving or something, or else now it just looks like you just drove into an empty trailer. So with the magic of cameras, like show like even like the door open, swinging open or something, like so that we like have the idea that they escaped from there afterwards, and maybe they're like limping, there's a trail of blood, I don't know, but something showing that it wasn't just two different scenes. You drove into a trailer when there's nobody in it versus you drove in a trailer with the Elite in it. So, but still, more Mox and Eddie's adventures are great, and I will always accept them. Especially at one point, Eddie like yelled at Moxley for like throwing the pipe and almost hitting him with it. That was great. So, and Moxley said they're bitch AF, which I don't know if that's the correct way of using that, but I loved it. Next match, we've got Powerhouse Hobbs versus Christian Cage. Taz back on commentary, of course. So this one, mostly Powerhouse Hobbs just showing his brute force, throwing Christian around, literally just throwing him around the ring. He does during the commercial at one point, in the picture-in-picture, he slams Christian into like the bottom rope. It was a brutal looking move, and I was surprised they didn't show a replay of it, but that was really cool. Christian finally got some offense in, and he hit like what did he hit? He got like a power bomb and a frog splash going. Hobbs hits spine buster, where JR and Taz are, going back and forth. But JR called it a power bomb, and Taz like, it's not a power bomb. But at one point then, Hobbs is going for his finisher, the Stampede, gets reversed. Christian hits the kill switch for the pinfall victory. So, Christian gets the victory there. Next up, we've got the main event. Jungle Boy versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. Jungle Boy's got Luchasaurus. Darby's got Sting in their respective corners. And this is for TV time remaining. When they said this, I looked at my watch. I was like, shit, they got 15 minutes. And in that 15 minutes, they were able to put on a hell of a match. Starts off just a lot of mat wrestling, a lot of pins, beautiful stuff from both of these guys. They go to the outside at one point, like, I don't know what happened there. Jungle Boy goes to throw Darby over, and they both get tossed into the chairs there. That looked rough. And Jungle Boy hits a series of really nice suplexes. Darby gets the over the top, the float over stunner. That always looks fantastic. And then at one point, Jungle Boy hits this. He looks like he's going for a Rana of some sort, and he grabs Darby and flips him with these like body scissors. I don't know if that was a botch, if he like missed going up over his neck or intended to get under his arms like he did. Either way, it looked cool. Like, it looked like it did the job. And then he hit his series of the topes with the plancha flip over the top rope. Beautiful looking. Darby then gets back in there. He hits a coffin drop on the apron. Both dudes fall to the outside. And Jungle Boy's almost going to get hit with the 10 count. He pulls himself up with pulling up on Luchasaurus. Gets into the ring that way. And then Luchasaurus goes around, and Sting gets in his face and just they start throwing punches and fighting. They fight into the back. And then, he goes for the snare trap too. He's got that. That's his finisher, his submission finisher. Darby looks like he's going to tap. He ends up getting out of it by pulling on Jungle Boy's hair and like gouging at his eyes. I thought that was a really clever way of getting him out of that. And then, out of nowhere, he hits the Last Supper pin where he like crosses their legs and pins them. I still don't understand why this one is any better than any other pin. I mean, it looks tighter, but like, I don't know why it gets those instant victories, like a roll up. Like a roll up, you get the pin because it's a surprise. This one, it's just like a really tight pin on their shoulders, but it shouldn't be like a finisher, I don't think. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I really don't understand it. But Darby gets the win and still TNT champion. Next up, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page come out and start attacking. They attack Jungle Boy, get him out of the ring. And then go after Darby. Ethan Page hits him with his finisher, and then Lance Archer comes out, gets rid of those two. Not before they both kick him in the dick. And then Sting comes out with the bat, and that's how we finish. So I don't know what that's setting up. If it's Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky versus Lance and Darby, Sting and Lance, Sting and Darby. I don't know where this is going. I'm interested to see where it's going, but there's not much of a story there yet. I need to know what Sky and Page are doing and why. So, I don't know. I still think Ethan Page and Hangman Page should be in a tag team and wrestle Christian Cage and Brian Cage. Cage battle in a cage. Cage match. But like I said, great night of fights. A lot of stories set up, a lot of stories continuing, and some really great matches in there. Nothing as amazing as last week's tag match. The Darby Jungle Boy match was as good as I expected it to be, but it didn't blow me away like the other ones did. And I think I think I was expecting more from the Tai Conti Hikaru Shida match. That was a great match again, but I don't know. I got spoiled with the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match. Now I want everything to be just this bloody, just amazing battle. So every match on the card was really well done. The Billy Gunn QT Marshall match wasn't very good, but again, it's telling a story. These two mid-card factions going at it, but we'll see. All right, let's talk about what is planned for next week. We've got Penta L0M versus Orange Cassidy after what happened tonight where he super kicked Orange Cassidy. So this is just Penta just going through all the best friends, I guess. Then we got Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. The Young Bucks versus the Seidel brothers. This is a tag title eliminator match, I guess they're doing again. I don't know what that means. If Seidels win, they get a shot. I don't know how those work. It seems like a strange idea. Then we also have the Nightmare Family versus the Factory. Now, I think the Nightmare Family, I think that was Dustin and the Gun Club, I believe, versus the Factory. I'm not sure who's wrestling from the Factory. I think it's everybody except QT Marshall. I think it's the three people. Hopefully we get more Nick Camarado up in that shit. And then we got Inner Circle and Pinnacle with the Parlay and Brian Cage versus Hangman Page. So, we got half of what I was hoping for. Cage versus Page. So, yeah, again, another solid week next week. I'm really excited for this parlay, whatever that's going to be. I'm sure it's just going to turn into a complete madhouse with them two brawling. But, the matches look good too. Penta's wrestling OC, so that's going to be fantastic. Young Bucks wrestling against the Seidel brothers. I would love to see Young Bucks just completely squash them. I probably won't happen, but you got to show that the Young Bucks are a dominant team. And I feel like it should, especially with the Seidels. I get that they're coming up. They've been wrestling a lot on Dark and Elevation, but still, they're not the tier. They're not at the level that the Young Bucks are. So, but Brian Cage versus Hangman Page, that's gonna be the match of the night. Absolutely. All right, let's take a look at the newly announced rankings. First up, let's talk about the men's division. Still got Kenny Omega and Darby Allin as champions after tonight. Darby retained over Jungle Boy. Hangman Page is still that number one contender, and he, with his win over Ricky Starks, will, I'm sure, keep that number one spot. Then Moxley's number two. Jungle Boy did get a loss tonight. We'll see where that sets him. Also, Powerhouse Hobbs is up in there. He also got a loss, and Pac is rounding up the fifth spot. Cody, surprisingly, dropped from the rankings after not wrestling for, what was it, a couple weeks, 2 weeks? So that's interesting. So there should be a pretty big shakeup here, as two of the people that are ranked did get losses. And we've got those big events coming up. We got the pay-per-view at the end of the month and the Blood and Guts coming up. Kenny he's wrestling Rich Swann for the Impact title this coming Sunday, and I fully expect him to win that belt. So I expect him to either go into whatever their next big thing is, whether it's, they add more matches to Blood and Guts and make that a big thing, or just wait for the pay-per-view. But who will he be wrestling for either of those titles? The Hangman Page match is always there, but that needs more build up between. I know we've seen a lot of it between them two, but this is his story of retribution. This is him, really fighting his way back to the top. So I think that needs more time, especially if with a direct feud with Kenny. So we'll see. And then Mox, he's still they got a thing with the Elite. So he's there. I don't know who he's going to ultimately wrestle. It seems like him and Eddie are building something up to wrestle one of the tag teams, maybe the Young Bucks. But, there's a lot of stories going on here in the men's division, and it could go a lot of different ways. But only time will tell. Next up, let's talk about the women's rankings. Hikaru Shida is still the champion. She defended her title against Tai Conti, the number one ranked woman in the division. And we already saw, according to Britt Baker, she's number one, and that makes perfect sense. Drop Tai down to number two, maybe even three past Thunder Rosa, because both Britt and Thunder Rosa have been just, racking up the wins on Dark and Dark Elevation. So, that should be interesting to see. And then we've got Nyla Rose in fourth, and Red Velvet dropped down to the fifth spot after her loss to Jade Cargill, which surprising that Jade, I would expect to see Jade moving up onto this list soon. Maybe she just needs a few more victories, but we'll see about that. I don't know when they're going to have, like I said earlier, I definitely see Britt Baker fighting Hikaru Shida for the belt and winning it. I don't know when they're going to do that. If they wait till the pay-per-view, or they do it sooner. If they wait, that's still a ways, and Hikaru Shida's going to have to, she's going to have to defend before that. Well, I don't know. I guess not. She could go a month without defending. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. And then lastly, in the tag team division, still got the Young Bucks as the champions. SCU still sitting right there in the number one spot. And then Jurassic Express, second place. The Varsity Blondes have been doing a lot of work on Dark, because they are the third ranked tag team. They jumped over Butcher and Blade, who are in fourth, and then FTR is rounding out the tag team rankings there. So again, not much movement here. Next week, the Sydal brothers get a shot, which I don't know. I don't know why they don't give it to someone like the Varsity Blondes to make it more believable with the rankings and that sort of thing. I know the story with the Sydals is they wrestled, I believe it was at that house show, the one that they didn't air anywhere, and it was like the Elite versus Sydal and the Death Triangle. So I get that's where this story is coming from, but I don't know. I'm assuming the Varsity Blondes are just getting pushed up the rankings in order for the Young Bucks to get a win over a ranked tag team. But like I say every week, this SCU match is going to happen sooner than later. But I really don't see where they're going with this because they just started this heel run, and they got the Sydal match next week. I don't see anywhere on the rankings who they would wrestle at the pay-per-view. I really feel like it's going to be Eddie and Moxley at the pay-per-view. So yeah, we'll see if they do some tag team wrestling prior to that, or if they just just call it a grudge match and just let them have at it. So I say it way too much when I'm talking about this shit, but we will see. So that is our show for this week. Another great night of wrestling, another real fun discussion about what we saw, what's coming up, all that shit. So thank you so much for watching, for listening. Please like, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really, really appreciate it. And we will see you next week for more AEW Dynamite discussion here with AEW Bring the Boom. We'll see you then. Bye.